Hi, good morning, Jose. How are you?
Good morning, Danielle. How are you?
Fine, thanks. So I wanted to talk really quick about what's going on right now with immigration, Trump's administration. How are clients reacting? What are your thoughts?
So the 2 weeks that Trump has now been officially back in the White House, as you know, there's been a ton of executive orders, most of them or many of them targeting illegal immigration. Even though nothing is targeting EB-5, the amount of news coverage on all of the various immigration initiatives is making people nervous. We have investors here that are waiting for their final adjustment of status. Their I-526s have been approved. They're perfectly good, but they're like calling and saying, "Hey, should I be worried?" I'm saying, "No, you don't need to be worried." But it's a little scary to see all this enforcement, and your green card is still pending. So I understand why people react that way.
Now, for people who are considering the EB-5, is this something they need to be concerned about, or is it completely different?
It's difficult because, as you and I have discussed before, people hear the word immigration and that they don't separate that into the different elements. You know, Trump's enforcement actions from day one, when he first became president last time, and especially this time, center entirely on illegal immigration. People that have entered illegally in the U.S., people that are out of legal status in the U.S., and specifically, the major focus is on people who've committed crimes and are here illegally. EB-5 is not only not mentioned, EB-5 continues to thrive. The petitions continue to be filed. The Trump companies have used EB-5. The Kushner companies, the son-in-law's company, have used it. There's nothing on the radar that would suggest any anti-EB-5 activity. If anything, uh, in some of the comments that he made during the election process, he wants to curtail illegal immigration to facilitate legal immigration. So EB-5 remains unchanged, notwithstanding all the other crazy stuff happening against illegal immigration.
Okay, so for example, with what happened this week with Colombia, you would still suggest someone that's Colombian to apply for an EB-5 visa?
Absolutely, absolutely. And we're going to see things like that because right now, the if you could sum up what Trump is doing now is he's testing to see what he can do. He's like, remember the original Jurassic Park where the velociraptors would test the fence? That's what's happening here. So he's issuing orders that are clearly, like no birthright citizenship. That's a constitutional thing. The president can't do that. It's going to go to the Supreme Court and it'll be clarified. But he's doing everything he can. In the case of Colombia, he's like, we're going to deport people to you. And they're like, no, you're not. And then he said, well, then great, we're going to put tariffs on you. He's leveraging his power, but it's just little snapshots of him flexing his muscles to see how much he can get away with, both in foreign policy and both with expanding the role of the presidency. None of that affects EB-5.
Wow, well, that's great to know, especially because there's a lot of people with interest from South America, from Europe that are considering EB-5. So for them to understand that there is a difference between illegal immigration and what's called kind of the investment immigration, I think is very important.
I agree entirely. And it is something that is perceived differently from different cultures. So, exactly as you've observed, the questions that are being directed about, hey, is there going to be a problem with EB-5? They're coming from our South American, Latin American investors. They're coming from our European investors. Whereas in Vietnam, with our Vietnam office, they got the whole Trump as strong man president thing, and nobody's asking these questions. They're completely comfortable. They see the United States in a stronger position. So it's really an apolitical situation as it
Okay.
relates to EB-5. The concerns are reasonable, but again, legal immigration, especially because within legal, there's family immigration and then
Mhm.
there's business immigration. Family immigration, there are things that he would like to limit and control that are being thrown around. This investment-based immigration, business immigration is not even on the subject of discussion.
Okay. Well, thank you for clarifying. Have a great day.
You too.